Today is the International Women in Engineering Day, IWED, and this is a day that is celebrated world over by women engineers. And what they do is to reflect on the achievements, on how far they have come, and to celebrate some of their own who have achieved significantly. So we all may not be able to celebrate together, but it's important for all women engineers, wherever we are, we also reflect and ask ourselves, how have our lives been enhanced by engineering? That is the theme for this year's International Women in Engineering Day, that is enhanced by engineering. And when one thinks about engineering, and as a woman, it's always important to reflect on their journey and why they chose engineering as their choice. Personally, I was gifted in many subjects, but I enjoyed the sciences most. In particular, I enjoyed mathematics, physics, and chemistry, and I was very keen to know how can these science or STEM subjects be translated into practice. And as we continued, I discovered that engineering as a career is where you find mathematics, physics, chemistry, either individually or most of the time in a combined form, being applied very practically. It was quite interesting because I was able to enter into a university where engineering was taught, and indeed I found that it is true. What we were taught in engineering was about the application of the basics in sciences. So this application, for example, the mathematical formulae, the laws of nature, Newton's laws, all those, the chemistry, and all the related sciences, we are able to reflect and apply each one of them in everyday life. For example, if you think about switching on a tap, water, there's a lot of water engineering involved in that, starting all the way from the dams, the creation of the dams, the construction of the dams, the pumping of the water, the designing of the systems. There's a lot of engineering that is behind you taking a glass of water. Think about switching on the light. That is a lot of engineering behind it. That electricity has come from very far. The source of the electricity is another new world, a whole science. And therefore, with those examples, I was able to really appreciate what it means to put into practice the sciences. Now, the challenges that I would think about as a female engineer, they start right from college, and especially coming from a girls' only school. And then you go and find you are in a class where all of them are boys apart from yourself. That was a major challenge as a student that I encountered. And to even be more specific, I was shocked to discover that since I was the only female, together with the secretary, there was no provision for a ladies' toilet. Those are things that may look very small or very minor, but they also affect somebody's performance. You become less efficient if you have all the time to be sensitive to the fact that you not allow yourself to get to a level where you will share facility with fellow boys. Then coming from there, in the work environment, again, the female engineer more often than not finds themselves in the midst of maybe 90-95% of the workforce is men. And again, that one has to manage. The management of that demography, one has to manage. And if it's not properly done, one can easily lose interest, one can easily get frustrated, but it is important to be able to know that there are other women elsewhere. So you need to network, you need to be very alert, and you need to really be deliberate about it. What I discovered about our other gender counterpart is that they are very good at networking. And remember, your network is your net worth. They could be sports clubs, they could even just be social clubs, where some of them even meet after work. So you find sometimes as a lady, if you choose to also meet after work, it can actually be quite strange if you are not used to that kind of a lifestyle. It could also create other complications, scandals, and things that are not necessarily working for the betterment of your efficient working. And therefore, what I would recommend and what I have found works very well is to surround yourself with a good network of mentors. Make sure you go out of your way and look for those mentors. The mentee could be at the beginning of the career, and therefore they need to really be able to navigate those teething problems, especially at the beginning of the career. Now, in my opinion, why would I think that it is important for more women to take up engineering? Women, we were created as the nurturing people. We are able to nurture, we are able to, by virtue of the fact that we are the ones who bring up children most of the time. We carry the baby, we give birth, we nurture them, we feed them. Therefore, that naturally makes us people who are able to nurture things. And engineering is a science that involves putting together different bits and pieces to make a system. It is, in a way, a nurturing process. We are able to nurture. So if more women take up engineering as a career, we'll be able to get a critical mass where we will have overcome the teething problems that I have already talked about social, about poor network, about being very few, about feeling intimidated, and then we'll be able to move ahead to be able to do the work that we were trained to do. Therefore, I would encourage more women to take up engineering, and there are very many disciplines of engineering that one can choose from depending on their gifts and what they are strong at. And if that is done, then we are able to develop our country, our continent, and make an impact in the world, instead of sitting back and waiting for our other gender counterpart to be at the forefront. And remember, there are very many sectors that one can work in as an engineer. So the choice is quite wide. You can be employed by a consultant. Private sector is very big in Kenya, for example. Government also employs engineers. You can also be an entrepreneur. That's an area that has not been fully exploited. And talking about entrepreneurship, it's very interesting because you find there are very many entrepreneurs who do a lot of engineering related things, yet they are not engineers. They are just businessmen and businesswomen. So I would wish to challenge ourselves that we look more closely and ask ourselves, how come people who are not who are not trained as engineers are able to have startups which are predominantly engineering based, then they employ engineers to help them go through that. So it's very important for us to start waking up to the fact that there is a whole new world, entrepreneurship, business, which we can be able to get into. And it's not just engineering or consultancy work, design office, as we know it, but even in manufacturing, there's a lot of engineering. Manufacturing of nails, manufacturing of finishing materials, roofing materials, steel trusses, manufacturing of, cement-based materials, and so on and so forth. Another area that is normally not very well given attention to is the research area. There's a lot of work that needs to be done in the area of engineering research. Engineering involves very many materials: cement materials, soil, sand, ballast, steel, timber. All these materials which are used by engineers need to be researched on. Not just the individual materials, but also systems, the parts, engines, gears, and all those things. Reverse engineering also is another area that has not been fully exploited. So today, being an International Women in Engineering Day, I just wanted us to reflect on those possibilities and to challenge ourselves so that we can start thinking how we can be better participants. And now, to conclude, I would want to ask, how would we as women, if we have the opportunity, be able to fit and shape the current dynamic world? The world as we know it has become very dynamic. Actually, it has become very unstructured. And part of the engineering, as I have said, engineering training is to be able to put systems in place. So you can look at an unstructured world. And by unstructured, let me give an example of a family. A family as we know it, the definition of a family, the way it was 20 years ago, you'll find it has changed. Maybe today, what we used to know as family has changed. And it's not just family which has changed. The whole world has become very dynamic. There are very many things which have become unstructured. And they need to be put into perspective. The dots need to be put together. Therefore, today being an International Women in Engineering Day, and the theme being enhanced by engineering, I hope that my thoughts will have helped to stimulate us so that we can wake up, stretch ourselves, put our heads high, and check where is it that we can be able to make a difference. Enjoy your day today, the International Women in Engineering Day, IWED. This is Education Without Borders, where learning is given the top priority. Theme is enhanced by engineering. Keep watching the next video. We shall elaborate more.